Hi everyone, my name's Whisper. Thanks for joining me. I just want to share a few ideas with you today that I've picked up over the time that I've had dogs, which has been my whole life, and as you can see looking at me, that's been a fair while. I've generally had fairly well behaved dogs, and that's just by doing some very, very basic principles. It's nothing worse to me though than a dog that jumps up, whether it be your own dog or you go to visit people and the first thing you're confronted with is dogs jumping up. I've got friends that you pull up and you've got one dog on one side of the car on your passenger side, the other on the driver's side, straight away up scratching your car. You get out of the car, you're trying to juggle food that you've taken, they're jumping up at you. You're in good clothes, you've got dog prints all over you. People don't like to go to a place like that, and likewise I wouldn't like people to come to my place if that was the situation. The first thing I want to say about jumping up dogs is please don't blame the dog. We all do. Yeah, rotten thing, get out of it. It's like it's the dog's fault. It's not the dog's fault. Dogs only do that because we've trained them to do it. So the key is, firstly, don't train them to do it. And secondly, once they're in that behaviour, we need to look at some strategies to undo that behaviour. When I say we've trained them, you say, I haven't trained my dog to jump up. Who trained their dog? We do that inadvertently from the first time we get our little puppy. They're down on the ground, they're gorgeous, and we're down there and we're calling them, come on, and they run to us and we put on the silly little voice and we pat them and give them loving and they jump up and it's great. They're a little puppy, we love it, we're patting them. Then they get bigger and they're still jumping up because they're still wanting to get the silly voice, the patting, the treat or whatever. And then suddenly it becomes unacceptable for us and we rouse at the dog. It's not the dog's fault. We're the ones to blame here. So the first thing is, don't do it as a pup. When they're little, don't hit the legs and say, come on, jump up. Go down to their level. So you're giving them, they're loving, they're talking, all the sweet stuff, but while their 4 feet are on the ground. They never even occurs to them to jump up because they're trained from the word go that to get what they're wanting, which is a connection with you, they just stay on the ground because you're going to come down to them and give them that reward. So that's the first tip. From the moment you get a pup or a new dog, and if they're not in the habit of jumping up there, make sure they're not by giving all that loving on the ground. And the command, and you need to give them a behaviour that you're wanting at that time, and that behaviour normally that I say is off. Don't use down because down suggests something different. That's they're on the ground with their paws out front. You don't want to confuse your dogs with the command. So keep it simple, off. They're off you, their feet are on the ground, they get their pat, they get their loving, they get their connection, and it's all with 4 feet firmly trained. If you are going to have to get a dog out of a behaviour, what you're needing to do, it's all about reinforcement. They're jumping up for the reinforcement. So the first thing you can try doing is no reinforcement whatsoever. The dog jumps up, you fold your arms, you turn away, you don't look at them, you don't speak to them. So they've jumped up and they've got absolutely nothing from you. You can do the same by turning your back on them. Again, they're getting nothing, and it's like, what am I jumping up for? I'm getting nothing here, so I won't do that. There's no point in me just doing it though if the other people in the household don't do that same behaviour. So you all need to buy into what you're trying to achieve with your dog, so there's consistency. Consistency and regularity, and the dog starts to get the message. So that's the no reinforcement. You can then give them some negative reinforcement. So one of the things that people recommend, I'm not such a fan of this, but I'm just letting you know, is when your dog comes, whether it be yours or another dog, you're up and you just knee them. Now that can be a technique you use straight away when a dog's coming at you. Sad thing is you don't know the dog, you don't know whether the knee to the chest is going to result in teeth in the leg, but it's a method that some people use and have had success with. So it's simply the dog comes up, they're getting pushed away. Having said that, some dogs will still see that as a positive because you're making contact with them or you're growling at them as you're doing it. So A, you're talking to them, and B, there's that physical contact. Now my little girl here, Miss Rosie, when I go in the garden, I'm out there and I'm weeding, my hands are going around doing whatever. Well, she's in amongst my arms and legs the whole time because to her, I'm patting her when I'm reaching out to that plant. Some dogs that you're going to knee in the chest are going to see it as that same contact and reinforcement. So it may not actually work terribly well with some, but it's a technique that you can use. Another one that I've seen people use is just with your dog on the end of the lead. So I've got the lead and my friend over there pulls the dog, wants them to jump up, and just as they're about to jump up, I pull away with the lead. The reinforcement they get from that is a nasty little tug around the neck, not quite the reinforcement they're after. You may not want to go that way, it's not anything I've done, but I've heard that people use that and get results with it. It's not my preferred one. This is the one I love though in terms of the negative reinforcement. So they're jumping up and they're not getting the patting and the loving, they're getting something that they don't want. And that's basically just grabbing their paws. So they've jumped up, you grab their paws. Now dogs don't like their paws being held. You don't do it to hurt them, it's just enough pressure. And what you will find will happen is, more often than not, and this is what I've done with my dogs, they'll lick your hand as if to say, I don't like that. Straight away, lick, lick, lick. You put them on the ground on all fours, and as soon as they're on the ground, it's off, off. Good boy, good girl. I'll see if we can do this with my boy here, Remu. He's not a jumper upper, but he can jump up when I encourage him to, and I know he doesn't like his paws being done, so we'll see if it does actually work with him. And I'll just get Miss Rosie out of the way, my gardening dog. Remu, come on, Remy. Good boy. Boy. Now I'm hot squeezing his paws. He's looking at me. He'd prefer not me to be doing this. Normally he will lick my, see he's just started to lick me now. Doesn't like it, I put him down. Off. Good boy, good boy. He may not actually come up again because we've done this a lot and he doesn't like it. But what if I was to do it again, I can get him to come up. Remu, come on down. Remu, 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 Remu. See, he's not coming up. Good boy, off. Good boy, off. Now, with dogs that haven't done it, we've done this a lot. You'll find that they'll come up 2 or 3 times. On the 3rd time, there'll be a half jump, and probably on the 4th time, they won't come up. And every time, as soon as you've got them on the ground and all 4 legs where you're wanting them, the behaviour that you've got is the one you want to reinforce. I don't know why you're wanting to bark at me. So as soon as they're on the ground, it's good boy, off, because that's what we want. We don't want you jumping up. We've given them the alternative behaviour that we know that we want. They start to work out that, that's what she wants, and that's when I get the loving and the patting, because I'm off, I'm on the ground. But as I said, with it, I've got my brother's dog next door, a big blue heeler. I go down there and it's a battle to get to the door. I've been doing it with Brave for a couple of weeks now, and he's becoming really, really good with it. So as soon as I go down there, he's not jumping up because he's had the paw thing happening. I'm straight away, I greet him, all 4 legs on the ground. I go into the house without any problem. And it's as simple as that. So that's my preferred one, is the paws one. Very effective, doesn't hurt them, but they tell you straight away with licking the hands. You put them on the ground, straight away, good boy, off, off, and it's just continual reinforcement of that. The final one that people will use is an indoor one. People coming to the door, if you've got your dog consistently inside, is using a lead. So you'll have the lead maybe at 1 metre from you, put your foot on it, have the distance from the door that when someone comes in the door, the dog can't get to them. And straight away, whatever behaviour you're wanting when visitors come, whether it be that they sit at the door at that particular spot, that's where you continue to practice with them. So when they're in the right spot, they're sitting, you reinforce them. Good boy, off, or sit, or whatever it is, that the behaviour you're wanting when someone comes to the door. You then gradually can increase that so that there's more responsibility on them, so your lead's a bit longer, to the point where you're letting them off the lead. Practice it. Don't wait until the first visitor comes to practice it, and then suddenly it all comes tumbling down. You might have a kid at the door that they've jumped up and knocked over, which is one of the main things I hate about dogs jumping up, particularly with little toddlers. We want our kids and people that love dogs not to be frightened of them. Or you've come in, as I said, in good clothes, or if you're carrying food or a present, and you're knocked over by the dog. So practice that. That's another one that works with the lead. You need to keep reinforcing. As soon as they've done the behaviour you want, you're all over them like a rash. They think, whoa, they're not silly. They'll work out why it is that you're giving them treats and pattings, because they're doing the behaviour that you're wanting. So that's pretty much some of the techniques that I've come across. As I said, don't teach them to start with. You can try some of the reinforcement things, the negative, ignoring, the lack of reinforcement with ignoring the negative outcome. And my preferred, as I said, is the pause one, which works really well. I love that. It doesn't hurt the dog, but the message gets across very quickly, and it's a lovely, safe way of doing it. Or you can do your practice with your lead so that the dog's constrained in terms of the access to the visitor. So one of those might hit the mark with you. As I said, the pause one works really well for me, and I've got dogs now that don't jump up because they know they're going to get lots of loving right down at this level, and I'm not reinforcing the jump up behaviour. So good luck with that, and with keeping your pet's paws all firmly placed on the ground.